being hybrid. Hello, folks who are online. So my name is Julia. I am co-hosting with
Scott Stafford.
And so we are really, really excited to have everyone here to celebrate folks who have made an impact at the School of Social Work in our larger Baltimore community, doing justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. So before we begin handing out awards, we wanted to set the occasion with some words from our wonderful staff and faculty here at the school. And so Scott is going to introduce our first speaker.
Just to preface this, for all introductions, they were intended to be very brief. So that's why they are short. Nejma Celestine Donner, she, her, MSW and JD, is the Associate Dean for the Office of, sorry, applause, please. So she is the Associate Dean for the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at the University of Maryland, Baltimore School of Social Work. Dean Celestine Donner is a clinical associate professor and director of the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. She began her role at the School of Social Work in August of 2020.
Thank you, everyone, and welcome. I wanted to just talk about the importance of having the JEDI Awards at this particular time in our country, where the work of justice and equity and anti-racism is under attack. It is under attack in several states, and we probably need to be prepared, right? And so the importance of fighting back and honoring and recognizing those that are working to cultivate justice and equity and anti-racism and anti-repression is really, really important at this time. I will also want to just lift up the work of the School of Social Work. We have been on a long journey, but we are getting there, and we have a lot to be proud of. We have a lot of accomplishments, both big and small. I want to just take a minute or two to highlight some of those. Can we move to the next slide? So some of the things that have happened within the last 2 years, we created our Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. We have established a lead training institute. Many of you have participated in that. We started our new MSW structural oppression course. We equalized tuition course. Can we get a round of applause for that? We have gender neutral restrooms. We completed a disability audit and evaluation. We have our yearly Pulse, DEI Pulse survey. We have our DEI committee known as the DICE. We have created a pathway for promotion for our clinical instructors. We had our first Lavender graduation last year. We are launching our MSW online program. We are working to be a restorative school. And of course, we have the JEDI Awards. So can we get a clap for all of the things that we have done as a school? We are excited today to recognize the award recipients as well as our JEDI champions. I want to, before we get started, thank all of the folks that contributed to planning this day to make it hopefully a success. I also want to talk a little bit really quickly about the awards that we'll be giving out today. So we will be giving the Camara Jones Faculty Award. If you all don't know, Dr. Jones is a professor currently and does research around health and health equity, and was really instrumental in fighting COVID-19. So we'll be giving out the Camara Jones Faculty Award today. We'll also be giving out the Judith Heumann Staff Award. She recently passed, but she is an internationally recognized disability advocate. The Audre Lorde Student Award will be given out today. Audre Lorde, many of you might be familiar. She is a Black feminist, a poet, a mother, a lesbian, an activist, who really spoke to the importance of liberation for marginalized groups. We'll be giving out the Whitney Young Award, For alumni, Whitney Young is a trained social worker, a civil rights leader. We'll also be giving out the Kimberle Crenshaw Group Award. Kimberle Crenshaw is a civil rights activist and scholar. You may know her for critical race theory, which, as we know, is being attacked right now. So again, the importance of making sure that we are committed to this work. And finally, the Shirley Chisholm Community Award. And Shirley Chisholm is the first Black woman elected to the United States Congress, the first woman and African American to seek nomination for the President of the United States. So our recipients have really big shoes to fill. We were very intentional about thinking through the names of the awards and how we wanted the folks that are receiving the awards today to honor the people who the awards are named after. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed today.
Hello again. So we're going to next hear from Diane Force-Bethode, and she is a PhD MA at the University of Maryland, Baltimore, and she is the first Chief Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Officer and Vice President. She assumed that role in July 1 of 2021. She oversees institutional change necessary for deepening and strengthening the university's commitment to EDI and designs and operationalizes a transparent accountability framework to measure and evaluate the impact and effectiveness of UMB's EDI initiatives at every level of the institution. She'll be joining us online. Please welcome Dr. Patel.
Thank you so much. Shall I begin, Najma? Can you hear me? Good afternoon. Okay, great. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you so much to the School of Social Work for this invitation, and congratulations to all the JEDI winners. I'm pleased to bring greetings on behalf of the Office of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. As was mentioned before, where I'm pleased to serve as the inaugural Vice President and our campus leader in advancing these important initiatives and efforts. As also mentioned before, these are challenging and complex times in which we're living. We've seen shifts in our workplaces, in schools, in other institutions, in our efforts to address systemic racism, discrimination, and equality. Those who have experienced threats to power and privilege have responded with resistance, hostility, and even violence. We've seen trends in our K-12 systems banning of books, curtailing the curriculum, erasure of histories and identities in the US and throughout the world. And we're currently awaiting the decision of the US Supreme Court on affirmative action, specifically race-based admissions. And in some industries, DI officer positions and offices are actually being cut. In the midst of all these challenges and threats, the work we do still matters. In fact, it's even more critical now than ever before. The work of the School of Social Work that seeks to cultivate a community of practice within the University of Maryland, Baltimore system and beyond is important as it advances a culture and a climate based on key guiding principles that I read about, that JEDI is social work. And some of those key principles that I read about recently were access, equity, belonging, healing, and liberation are some of those key principles as a part of the School of Social Work's efforts. This is still important work, and we must persist. Your school's effort in doing work to teach, engage, share, and challenge are important in the creation and development of the next generation of social workers and all of us who engage in our society in one way or another to meet the challenges of this critical moment. By recognizing and rewarding colleagues who exemplify this commitment to social justice and to JEDI, you inspire and encourage all of us to be better and to do better in our collective and our individual work. The Office of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion at UMB is pleased to partner with you and to share our commitment to advancing these important principles and our core values at the university level. UMB was recently ranked among best employers for diversity in Forbes magazine in 2022. in part because of great work that has been done over the last decade and more, and the additional work of our office to strengthen that. We have strengthened and expanded our assessment efforts, conducting surveys, forums, listening sessions. And as some of you know, in the last few months, we recently launched a Faculty of Color network in the fall. And then we have an upcoming luncheon on April 24th to build community, increase a sense of belonging, and to increase opportunities and access for those in our workforce that feel the most marginalized. We've provided leadership and sponsorship and expertise to expand DEI infrastructure and development in all schools now. Every school has a DEI officer, and a few units are developing that infrastructure more and more so that we can advance what we say is important to us on campus. And we were pleased in our office to develop and launch the JEDI Innovation Grant, which was launched last month, and we received quite a few applications just a week ago. We've expanded campus engagement and co-sponsored NIH grants and other grants to increase diversity in biomedical research, community-based, and health disparities research, securing close to $20 million in collaboration with 2 or 3 schools across campus. So we're excited to work both in our region, in our city, our state, and nationally with the National Center for Faculty Development and Diversity, and increasing leadership buy-in and unit buy-in to integrate EDI competencies in employee and leadership assessments. Our work is ongoing, and what we do matters. What we do collectively in our schools and our communities matter in our various spheres of influence. In the School of Social Work, your tireless efforts to teach and share, advocate, and lead have been instrumental in what we do at UMB, in Baltimore, our state, and beyond. You continue to be a leader. We are proud to be your colleagues. We are proud to see your work to advance access and justice. And we congratulate all the winners of this year's JEDI Awards. Congratulations to you all. Keep up the great work, School of Social Work, and thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Diane, for your wonderful words. Next up, no, you didn't see that. Next up, we are going to have words from Bill Joyner. So Bill Joyner, J.D. MSW, became the University of Maryland, Baltimore's Assistant Vice President for Community Engagement in August of 2022. He's tasked with leading the university's Office of Community Engagement. Before assuming that role, he was UMB's Director of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. So I am really excited and happy to. What's happening with the baby? All right, Bill, you have the floor, and I'm going to stop sharing because I believe Bill is going to be sharing.
All right, can you see my screen?
There we go.
Perfect. Okay, great. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you so much to you, Ms. Julia Scott, and you, Associate Dean Nejma Celestin Donner, for this invitation to be a part of this event, so that I can talk to everyone here about something that's really important to me, and I understand is very important to those of you in the room. And so they just gave a very gracious introduction, so I won't talk about this slide for the most part, except to say that I'm also a product of the School of Social Work. And a lot of what I'll talk about today, I learned here in that building, in the School of Social Work. And I find it a privilege to be able to practice what I learned and put it into real life now as a part of my job. And so as we begin, I just want for everyone to preliminarily just think about, who do you think the target population of the School of Social Works and the university's equity and justice work is? And then we can just reflect on these 2 questions of who should be the target population of our collective equity and justice work, and what happens if we fail to address the inequity and injustice faced by our neighbors. I also want to do just a little bit of making sure that we're using the same language. And so when I say the word equity, I am thinking about the process of eliminating identity-based disparities and making sure that we improve outcomes for everyone, but in particular, the target population. I'm also thinking about equity as a practice. So it's a process, and it is a practice that is intentional and continuous and focuses on macro level change that prioritizes measurable improvements in the lives of marginalized people. And when I think about justice and our equity and justice work, I think about the vision of a fundamentally changed or transformed society where hierarchies based on dimensions of identity we cannot change are eliminated, and we have advanced a collective state of liberation. But justice is something that we have not yet reached. When we get to a just society, there will be no more oppressed people. But until we get there, the process of advancing justice requires that oppressed people, in particular, have everything we need to fully thrive and succeed on our own terms. And when we do reach that state, we maintain those tools so that we can maintain that state of justice and collective liberation over time. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, I know that some people wonder, well, why should UMB's and the School of Social Work's equity and justice work advance these outcomes for people outside of our doors, people who are not subject to our control? And there are a few answers to that. The first is that UMB has a long history of benefiting from injustice and inequity, going all the way back to our founding in 1807 in a slave state founded by a segregationist government with donations generated by slavery and other forms of oppression. And in the beginning of our history, we barred nearly every demographic from admission except upper class and middle class white American men. Fast forward past the 19th century into the 20th century, we still have vestiges of the slave state, of coverture, and other forms of oppression that have been adapting and reproducing disparities in health, social, and economic outcomes. Redlining is one example of one of those reframings of oppression, a vestige of the slave state that has reproduced some of these outcomes and exacerbated these disparities in these major indicators of quality of life. And it's also a matter of strategy, because as a public institution with a mission of improving the human condition and advancing the public good, our strategic plan, theme 3, which is the one about culture and belonging, even says that UMB will create a sustainable, equitable, and inclusive culture of care that collaboratively engages and embraces all members of the university community and the broader community with respect and in a manner that fosters belonging, understanding, trust, and equity. And I want to zoom in a little bit on the trust element first, because UMB is a part of communities that are still struggling with the oppression that is longstanding as a part of our history that we have benefited from. And faculty, staff, and students, they want to work and study in universities that have thriving communities. And so equitable and just communities are a competitive advantage for recruiting the best staff, faculty, and students. Trust is a competitive advantage for us to secure the resources we need to advance our priorities and our strategies. It is in our self-interest as a university to build and maintain trust with our communities. And there are 4 elements of that trust that we have to look at: care, sincerity, competence, and track record. And when we look at the broader community that UMB is focused on, equity and justice has to be a part of that approach of building trust. And we talked about our track record earlier, about our exclusive policies, our exploitation through some of our economic and research activities through the course of our 200+ year history. That all speaks to not the community members not being able to trust us. And it causes mistrust of our sincerity when we say that we care. And we actually don't even have to go back 50 or 150 or 200 years to identify examples of how UMB has advanced inequity and injustice, sometimes incidentally. If we just go back to 2011, the University of Maryland so actually, let me back up a little bit. We are a very proud partner and funder of a coalition of 7 neighborhoods in the southern half of our community engagement catchment area called the Southwest Partnership. This strong coalition of 7 neighborhoods and anchor institutions like UMB advances quality of life in a manner that is driven by community members, mostly Black, and mostly at or below, the neighborhoods are mostly at or below the average median income. But what is often not widely known is that this coalition began with being activated by a harm committed by the university and our medical center. We placed an outpatient drug treatment facility right next to another very large outpatient drug treatment facility that did not have a strong record of helping people address their addiction. And so what ended up happening, and we also did not provide any support for any of the other things that would come about with this large concentration of a high need population in a relatively poor neighborhood. And so what happened is we, depending on who you ask, created or certainly exacerbated an open air drug market as a result of our actions. We had a detrimental impact on quality of life in these communities, and we created, or at least exacerbated, disparities. And so this speaks to how we have a long track record, ancient and recent, of eroding trust by participating in unjust and inequitable practices and actions, which makes it even more important to engage community in a way that advances the same interests and goals of equity, justice, and belonging for our neighbors as we do for our internal staff, faculty, and students. And this is something that is very true. You can read about it in the news, about what we are trying to course correct as an institution. And so when we talk about what does that look like, how do we build trust and advance equity and justice with communities, we're looking at a community engagement approach that builds authentic and reciprocal collaboration between the university and our larger communities, whether that is the Southwest Partnership, larger West Baltimore, the city as a whole, or increasingly our global community in Latin America and Africa and places where we are conducting economic and academic activities around the world. And this collaboration must be mutually beneficial and provide an exchange of knowledge and resources that meets shared goals. And so equity and justice really feed into each other. And I'm closing out my last slide. But so what we can do about this is that we can, one, democratize data, make more information available about what our impact has been, what our activities are, and who benefits. We can also incentivize community engaged research so that faculty are more authentically and meaningfully considering community benefit in all of their work, including on equity, diversity, and inclusion, acknowledging and promoting community expertise and autonomy, including in the classroom, and ask questions when we have initiatives and projects about EDI, asking who benefits and why, and who is not at the table and why not. Those are 4 easy things that we can work on together in advancing equity and justice in our community relationships. And I don't think I have time for questions, but thank you for letting me be here. Thanks. Bye.
All right, so thank you so much to Bill for that lovely, I think, presentation just on the importance of justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion in community. Community is something that we're very, very big on here at the School of Social Work. And this is also the time we want to start presenting our awards to our community members who have done amazing, amazing work, both on campus, outside in Baltimore City, and they're the reason we're here in this lovely room. So we're going to start our presentation ceremony. We're going to snap and clap and get ready for that. All right, so I do need the slides. So let's go here. All right, so for our first award, I am going to first introduce the person who's going to be introducing the winner. So I'm going to have them come up and then they're going to give a lovely speech. Have the winner come up, they're going to speak, and then we're going to keep it moving. So make sure you all knew what was happening. And also just for my own sanity. So we're going to begin with the Camara Jones Faculty Award. And here to introduce the winner, we have the lovely Brooke Hurley. So come on up, Brooke.
Hi everyone, I'm Brooke Kearley. I'm a research assistant professor here in the School of Social Work and also faculty at the Institute for Innovation and Implementation. And it brings me great joy to announce the Camara Jones Faculty Award to a longtime colleague and friend, Aaron Betsinger. Aaron has spent most of his career focused on improving outcomes for young people in the juvenile justice system, including working to reduce the disproportionate rates of contact by BIPOC youth, particularly at the intake and detention stages. He also advocated for and oversaw changes to Maryland's child, juvenile, and adult management system, known to some of us as CJAMS. And these updates included to the race ethnicity fields, as well as the creation of new fields to capture gender identity and sexual orientation, with the goal of both better describing and serving the diverse needs of Maryland's system-involved young people. Aaron has led several initiatives within the LGBTQ2S Quality Improvement Center, where his work has again focused on improving data collection and services for youth with diverse sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression. Aaron has also worked really hard here to further justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion at both the school and campus levels. He served on the university's Diversity Advisory Council, the DAC, and its subcommittees, as well as various university work groups that were focused on DEI issues during the COVID-19 pandemic. Aaron advocated for the development of and served as the initial sponsor for the university's Stonewall Pride group for faculty and staff. He also co-developed and co-facilitated the intergroup dialogues series with Rona Little and Dean Celestine Donner, co-facilitated the Institute's equity chats, and has been a member of the DICE's Pulse Check Survey Committee since 2019. Aaron, thank you for your unwavering commitment to JEDI principles. Congratulations on this one.
told Brooke I'm afraid I'm going to drop that if I touch it, so I'm just going to leave it where it is. I also printed this out, and I just started wearing bifocals this year, so we'll see how I do with this. So I'm really honored and grateful for this award. I want to say thank you to the JEDI committee, to all of you who helped choose this award for me, give me this recognition, because I know there's so much amazing work that's happening here by my colleagues, which is what makes this so incredibly humbling. A few years ago, I was much more involved with DEI specific work groups and subcommittees. And what I've come to embrace more and more is just the fact that this work needs to be done in our everyday. So that's what I'm trying to do now. And I'm incredibly fortunate to have worked on so many different projects over the years. I've been at the school for more than a decade now, and I've been in a lot of different spaces with a lot of different diverse people. And one of the things I'm most grateful for is getting to work with people who can embrace me, see past my shortcomings, and help me to do better both professionally and personally. I've gotten to sit in many spaces where I'm the only white person, and gotten to hear the truth spoken without the sugarcoating that a lot of us with privilege come to expect. And the list of teachers that are in those spaces with me throughout my life as a young person growing up in the South, in South Carolina and Virginia, and those teachers who've mostly been Black women in large part. That list is too long to name right now, but I do want to mention Nejma, Celeste Donner, Rona Little, who was mentioned when Brooke introduced me, Morgan Bassett, and Mary Jaleel Linier. All of those folks at some point have worked with me here at the school. And just thank them for the grace and space that they've given to me to have meaningful conversations. Sometimes myself makes some stupid mistakes and then be taught and embraced to work to do better. I'm still working on it. I can only hope that 10 years from now, I'm 10 times better than what I am right now. And outside of the school of social work, most of you probably don't know this, but I also teach an introduction to criminal justice class. And I'm still working on getting students more engaged in these conversations, and particularly getting white students to engage in these conversations and to recognize how important those conversations are for all of us to have. I also am just now learning about bell hooks, thanks to Lindsay Smith and others, and learning how to apply their lessons to my life. So there's still a lot of learning to do, and I'm going to use this award as a reminder of all the work that I have left and that I want to lift up others to do as well. So thank you.
You are correct though, so please be careful, because if it falls, we're not gonna get a new one. Just letting you know, honestly, it's not gonna happen for you, so enjoy that and put it in like a nice place, a case. All right, so congrats to Erin. I have had the pleasure of working with Erin, and I am so extremely happy for you that you won this award. So thank you, and also thank you, Brooke, for introducing him. So we're next going to do the Judith Human Staff Award, and we're gonna have the wonderful Chris Spiegel come and present that award.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. From day one, over 5 years ago, this person showed courage and curiosity to ask the critical question when she showed up to Family Connections: how do I know it works? Ms. LaShonda Godwin, the Deputy Director of Family Connections Baltimore, continues to be an integral voice to the transformation of service delivery, experiential learning, and programmatic reconstruction. I have to say, when nominations were asked for the JEDI Awards, Emily Blatter, supervised by LaShonda, the social worker of Family Connections, immediately emailed the entire team saying, we need to nominate LaShonda. The turnaround time for the team's response was the quickest I've ever seen in the 10 plus years I've been in Family Connections. which makes me think LaShonda has the utmost respect for her team, from her team members, and her work speaks for itself. And perhaps she will start sending out the emails for Family Connections so I can get a better response time. No matter her role, no matter her responsibilities, LaShonda approaches each space with the JEDI principles to her core. Partners, staff, and students have all experienced, witnessed, and benefited from being in community with LaShonda. I'd like to share a few words from our partners. From Family League of Baltimore, Ms. Renette Bennett shared, she goes about this work with a great amount of compassion for those she serves and those she works alongside. But her compassion would be nothing without the dedication, innovation, and resourcefulness she employs to deliver services and trainings that will empower the receiver to achieve whatever goals they're working towards. Your staff shared, you are a fierce advocate and a practitioner of a culture of care at Family Connections. Gentle leadership, she reminds us to take care of ourselves and each other, which allows us to show up as our full selves in the work we do with families and within the community. She consistently shows up in her authentic self, which creates room for others to do the same. Modeling others the practice of rest as resistance, she fosters hope, joy, and community, even within the most challenging of spaces. Interns of LaShonda share, she introduced me to the SHARP framework and created a brave and inclusive environment to support extremely sensitive conversations on race, historical oppression, power, bias, and diversity. I was so inspired by LaShonda that I sought out an advanced field placement at Family Connections to do the work. She's been instrumental in development of my clinical social work practice with individuals and families to promote healing on individual and structural levels. She allows her students, colleagues, families, and community members the opportunity to just be. With all her roles, because she has a lot, one of her greatest gifts is modeling to others how to be attuned to what your body, mind, and soul need to replenish and restore. She has incredible skills and tremendous gifts attuned to what is needed in the moment, offering individuals, families, and communities the opportunity to laugh, cry, yell, rest, dance, and stretch to keep fighting against racism and oppression. Her gentleness is affirming, and her boldness allows for incredible discovery, growth, and transformation. It is a tremendous honor to share space and be community with you. You've taught us no individual, no group, no place should be put on a pedestal. We all have work to do, and I hope you still will embrace this moment, acknowledging your contributions that have been received by so many. It is an absolute honor to present the 2023 JEDI Judith Heumann Staff Award to LaShonda Godwin.
So undone in this moment. All right, I'm gonna try to stick to this. Good afternoon, all of you beautiful people. It is such an honor to be in this space with you all today, and in this moment. I want to thank you, Najma. I want to thank you, Julia, for having this space, and even as exhausting as it is at times, I know that you all are just so beautiful in how you're supporting everyone here in this work. Audre Lorde said, and when we speak, we are afraid our words will not be heard, nor welcomed, but when we are silent, we are still afraid. So it is better to speak, remembering we were not meant to survive. It is in the bosoms of my ancestors, my grandparents, Ella Mae Shaw,
lasting, and inimitable that I rest with courage and determination. They have given me my anti-racism roots. Thank you to my mother, Valerie. She's the strongest Black woman and most amazing woman that I know. I want to say thank you to my king for always having my back, my front and my side, in life and in this beautiful struggle. I want to say thank you to my beautiful sister, Stephanie, who reminds me that we are stronger together. A huge thank you to my children, Christian, Dream, and Joshua, who keep me honest, eyes open, and hopeful of a better world in this work. To my personal board of advisors, you all know who you are. I'm not going to even mention your names. It's so precious to me, and I have such a deep appreciation and gratitude for you. To my students who have become my colleagues and those soon to be my colleagues, I want to say thank you so much. You continue to take my passion for this work deeper. A huge shout out to the Family Connections and the SSW BIPOC Affinity Space. It's where my cup gets filled when I'm deepened, when I'm depleted in this work. I also want to say a great thank you to Dr. Wendy Shire. Thank you for the sharp framework. It has opened so many doors to essential conversations about structural racism and oppression and leading change in the way we provide services and how we show up in this work and disrupt the status quo. Last but not least, I want to say thank you to Chris for all the ways you show up in your own anti-racism, anti-oppression practice as a leader, a colleague, and a friend. And to the Family Connections team, Emily, Stacy, Erica, Angela, Kyle, and Kristen. And the families we have partnered with, thank you. The answer to what kind of job is this when we always ask that question? It is the kind that is soulful, challenging and beautiful, exhausting and joyful. It is a not today Satan in a yes spirit. And I get to do that every week with the most amazing team on this planet. I encourage you all today to never be afraid to speak. I encourage you all, I encourage you all today to never be afraid to speak against injustice, to have the courage to take up space. You will always be supported in your journey towards liberation. And I also, just before I end, want to say a huge thank you to Family League. I see Renette and LaTanya here. And I just want to thank you all so much for holding space for me to be myself in those spaces and to lift up the families and the communities that we serve. Thank you so much.
Hey, LaShonda trying to make us cry. That was a beautiful, beautiful speech. Thank you once again, Chris, for introducing LaShonda, and congrats once again, LaShonda. It is well deserved. Next up for our next award. Okay, well, we have the Audre Lorde Student Award, and so I'm going to have Sarah come up and do the introduction for that one.
I'm gonna leave it there.
Okay. Y'all do what y'all want with these awards.
Hi, my name is Sarah Marcellin, and I'm a dual master's student in public policy and social work, both here at the University of Baltimore and also at the University of Maryland in College Park. So long drives, guys. I'm presenting the Audre Lorde Award to Jessica. Jessica's a humble person, but I'm gonna brag on her today. I'm honored to be up here speaking on her behalf as a dear friend of mine. Jessica has been a fierce advocate for students inside and outside the school. Not just like any ordinary student in social work who is doing the work every day, but she's doing it above and beyond any student I have ever met. And I wanted to share with you a few of the ways she's doing it. I met Jessica in the summer of 2021 during a webinar for incoming students. She sent out an email to everybody who attended it and saying that she was going to create a support group for all new MSW students. I joined, and Jessica continued to organize and host these events for students to inform and advocate for their rights for equal and adequate education at the school, even going above and beyond by taking on some of the complaints that students had as her own. Jessica became the co-chair of training and resources with Diversity Inclusion Subcommittee, where she worked closely with the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. She helped create new lunch and learn style programming to explore trans policy and fat phobia while participating in several interfaith panels. Jessica is the co-chair of Queer Community Alliance, where they actively support, help, and create initiatives for the LGBTQIA community here at the school. Jessica co-created the school's first lavender graduation ceremony and is now leading this effort in its second year. This was all done while she was working, attending school full time, and taking care of her wonderful dog, Sadie. Personally, Jessica opened up her heart and her home to me and my partner, who are kind of newish to the area. And she has continued to be a great friend, especially because she knows a lot, and if she doesn't, she's gonna find someone who does. Jessica is fiercely passionate about the LGBTQIA community, and it has been a wonder and an honor and a privilege for me to watch her grow into an amazing social worker. I cannot wait to see what she accomplishes. Jessica deserves the Audre Lorde Student Award. She embodies everything it presents and will continue to serve the School of Social Work and this community proudly and honorably when she graduates later this year. Congratulations, Jessica. I'm so proud of
Okay. Thank you. I'm honored, really. I'm not very good at speeches, so I'll keep this short and to the point. I've been lucky enough to have the opportunity to support a lot of great social justice initiatives during my time here. From DICE to the Office of ODI to the Intercultural Center and beyond, I work with a lot of really great students, faculty, and staff who have made it so fun and inspiring to do. I'm glad I could make a difference during my time here thus far. What I think the best part of our school is that on the whole, students help other students. We're sharing information and resources, fighting for each other's rights, and engaging the school in the work of changing for the better. Bell Hooks said that if we want a beloved community, we must stand for justice. I hope we can continue to stand for justice here in the School for Social Work and in our community. Thank you to Sarah, Edgar, and Brian for thinking of me for this award. And thank you to Nejma and Julia and the committee for selecting me. And to everyone who I've worked with. I see a lot of your faces here. I'm so grateful to everyone that I have met and worked with here, and thank you very much.
All right. So Thank you so much, Sarah, for that lovely introduction. And Jessica definitely does downplay all of the work that she does. I'll just add a tidbit. If we're in a meeting and someone says something, Jessica's the first person to put it in the chat. She has a link ready for everything. And she's always on the money. So I want to make sure that I also extend congrats and thank you for all the work that you do, Jessica, here at the school. It's been lovely working with you. So next up, we have the Whitney Young Alumni Award, and I'm gonna have Asia Hidden Sweets come up to introduce the winner.
So Asia's giving me the stank face because for 3 weeks I had to tell her, I don't know who nominated you. So I'm like, I'm here just for your support. Imagine being an adolescent and finding a place where you not only feel welcome, but free to learn and grow. That is the feeling Asia Louie, Community School Coordinator at Joseph C. Briscoe, gives to her school community. Beginning on her first day last August, Asia has dedicated her efforts to ensuring families, students, and the entire Briscoe community have the necessary tools needed to achieve success. To name a few, Asia has assisted with the cultivation of a food and hygiene pantry, ensured every student in her school received a coat, and partnered with a lawyer to provide pro bono law services to ensure a family would not be evicted from their home. When research showed that only 42% of Black households have savings accounts, Asia partnered with J.P. Morgan and Chase to support the students and community in gaining financial literacy. In an effort to engage students in post-secondary planning, Asia's newly cultivated partnership with Johns Hopkins University will allow them to explore their passions, choose a career, and determine next steps. When Asia is not pushing for the causes related to JEDI, she is mentoring social work interns to do the same thing, unknowingly fulfilling one of the award's criteria, which is to ensure that future social workers and other members of the social work profession are actively working to provide equitable access for the marginalized. Asia's advancement at Briscoe is the embodiment of not only job policies, but also the values of the social work profession. Winning this award will continue to not only highlight the work of Whitney Young, but also that of the social work community and a community school coordinator combined. With that being said, it is an absolute honor to provide the Whitney Young Jr. Award to my community school coordinator, who I love dearly, not just because we share the same name, but to Asia Louie.
Thank you, Asia, for those kind words. I'm so honored to receive the Whitney Young Alumni Award. Whitney was a champion for the working class and opened doors for some of the most disenfranchised folks in America. He understood the importance of equitable, coordinated, systems-level change and knew the importance of everyone having a seat at the table. He stressed the importance of working together, building community, and establishing structures that facilitate democracy, equality, and justice for all. To be given this award that carries his namesake is such an extraordinary honor. But of course, I wouldn't be standing here doing this kind of work without the love and support of so many, some of who are in the crowd and some who are not. So I want to thank my family and friends for always pouring into me, for giving me the unconditional love and care that is so necessary in this line of work, and for showing me firsthand that love is our most powerful renewable resource. My supervisors and colleagues for constantly pushing me to think bigger and more critically. To the university for not only gifting me this award, but for providing me with an incredible social work education, giving me the space to practice social work in a way that creates real, tangible differences in Baltimore City and beyond. And finally, all of the scholars, social workers, organizers, and community change agents that have led me here, inform my work, and continue to guide my practice. I'll leave you all with a little quote from Mr. Young. He said, "Every man is our brother, and every man's burden is our own. Where poverty exists, all are poor. Where hate flourishes, all are corrupted. Where injustice reigns, all are unequal."
Thank you. Congrats, congrats. First, thank you to the first Asia for the introduction and the nomination. And as congrats to Asia for the award. Love all the quotes that are being used. If you know me, you know that I love quotes. So, so once again, congrats. So now we are going to present the Kimberle Crenshaw Group Award. And I am going to have Dr. Wendy Shaya come and do that introduction in her lovely outfits.
That gets stuck on the chair.
Listen, you just have to tell them that.
Oh, this is not the right one. I'm sure we can put
Good afternoon. I'm Wendy Shaya. I am a clinical associate professor and the executive director of the Center for Restorative Change, formerly known as SWACOS. I am super excited to present this award to Family Connections. Professor Crenshaw is known for her work around intersectionality. You know this. And she says intersectionality is a metaphor for understanding the ways that multiple forms of inequality or disadvantage sometimes compound themselves and create obstacles that are often not understood amongst conventional ways of thinking. And I want to tell you that Family Connections work is all about intersectionality and compounding effects of poverty created by a whole mix of issues, including housing instability, gender inequality, disability status, food insecurity, and structural racism, which really is what wraps up all of these things we see, especially we see in multi-generational trauma as a result. What I love about Family Connections is that they work with families and children, often in a 2 or 3 generation model. And they address the impact of structural oppression in families' lives. The Family Connections team is very clear that the services they provide are not in and of themselves the end, but they are a means to the end of building power. Family Connections Baltimore believes that power, self-efficacy, and self-determination, not service provision, is the way to social and economic freedom. Every service Family Connections provides families is done with an eye towards building power, not empowering, because people come with their own power. We don't need to empower them, but towards building the power that people already have, both individually and collectively in community with others. I want to also just tell you that there is no environment like Family Connections, as our students would agree, right? I mean, give them some love there, right? There is something really special about the Family Connections team, that when you encounter them, you feel this wonderful mix of love and accountability. And those two things can go together in an amazing way. And there isn't a single person who interacts with the Family Connections culture that does not walk away feeling stronger, more cared for, and more clear about what it's going to take for us to change all of those things that Bill Joyner talked about in his keynote. So I am going to get out of the way so that you can hear from them. But I just want to ask Chris, LaShonda, Erica, Stacy, Kyle, Angela, who am I missing? LaShonda, Angela, Emily, Stacy, Chris, LaShonda, Erica. I had to write it down just to make sure. Kyle, would you just stand so we can see? Did I miss anybody? Would you all just stand so we can see? Students, the Family Connections students that are in the audience to join you, so you can see. work in an amazing anti-racist, anti-oppressive way, and then passing that on to the next generation of social workers. I am super proud, first of all, that we had 3 awards. I'm just saying, I had to get up there and recognize that we are all up in the house, the center, right? But I'm going to turn it over to Chris to accept the award, but I am very excited to present Family Connections Baltimore. Roll deep.
Thank you. Wow, what an honor. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are truly honored and grateful to receive this award. Recognition is incredible from all of our partners, from the Center for Restorative Change Leadership team. We just appreciate it. I would be remiss if I didn't start though and say this award is because of our caregivers. It's because of the families. It is such a privilege being in community with each of them. We appreciate their knowledges, their gifts, opening their homes, for all that they share with us, all their input into the advancement of our work. Justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion, whew, what a mouthful. These are not just components of our work, they are not words we select to just stay with the times. They have become the framework to how we approach our work, how we enter and engage in our spaces with an anti-racist, anti-oppressive lens, implementing sharp, as Dr. Shai would say, unapologetically. We received this JEDI Award well aware of the effort and commitment it has taken to get to this point, de-romanticizing and deconstructing on the personal and professional level, reflecting on our own imperfections, asking critical questions, are families better off? How do we know this is working? Interrogating our models created by whom, for whom, analyzing and evolving our assessments to include race-based trauma, and rethinking our outcomes to include healing and power. Family Connections team, let this serve as a recognition for our countless hours co-creating restorative spaces with our families to heal, just to be, and to have their phenomenal voices heard. Our efforts are seen, addressing food insecurity, addressing housing instability, addressing community violence, addressing all the evil behind socially engineered trauma. Food bank deliveries, scrambling to find ways to prevent eviction, meeting with families in their homes, the library, hotels, vehicles, advocating for proper educational supports, navigating all the systems, and doing all the clinical walking does not go unnoticed. We spent the past year laughing, crying, outraged, frustrated, smiling, sad, fatigued, and energized. We've continued to make ourselves vulnerable as we establish authentic relationships and partnerships amongst ourselves as a team and amongst our caregivers and their families. We celebrated life milestones and we've grieved life's hardships. We've danced in the hallway and on Zoom, all as a community of love. Let me end by saying, if anyone has children or remembers their childhood when having to travel, my 3 beautiful children have reached this stage in their own development. Are we there yet? In this moment and on this journey, we are reminded this award is not about if we've arrived. We receive this recognition as a moment to celebrate, a moment to be affirmed, a moment to refuel and re-energize, because our work, partnering with families, fighting against racism and oppression, must and will continue. Thank you.
I feel like I'm on the Oscars, like the last award of the evening. Y'all do roll deep. He did not tell Dr. Wendy Shia to, they do have a lot of awards. Like, quite literally. But once again, Family Connections, they do amazing, amazing work. And I want to make sure that I said congratulations. And that includes you too, Chris, because Chris and I have a battle thing that we do. But anyway, so for our last and certainly not least award, we have our Shirley Chisholm Community Award. And I'm gonna have Dr. Samantha Fold come up and present that.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. I'm Samantha Fold. I'm a clinical assistant professor here at the School of Social Work, and it is an absolute honor to present the Shirley Chisholm Community Award to the Special Olympics Maryland Health Advocacy team who we have here today, including Adam Hayes, Kayla Shields, and Jason Schrimmel, who have also worked together in a training with us with one of their peers, Faith McLucky, who can't be here today. This team embodies the true spirit of advocacy and equity. Last spring, Adam and the team reached out to us at the School of Social Work to partner in their efforts to promote health equity. When we met, Adam shared his own experiences and the experiences of many other athletes and colleagues at Special Olympics Maryland who found themselves stigmatized or mistreated by healthcare professionals who lacked an understanding of how to provide healthcare that affirms neurodiversity and the choices and rights of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Their goal was to offer trainings to better prepare professionals and students in health-related fields to partner with their patients who have intellectual and developmental disabilities and offer supportive, inclusive healthcare. Shirley Chisholm spent her career taking action to promote racial and gender equity in this country. And this team has taken incredible action to promote health equity, at this point having reached hundreds of healthcare professionals and students with the trainings they've developed and the partnerships they've created. It is an incredible joy to be here today as we have the opportunity to celebrate the work of this amazing team. Congratulations.
I am only one, but I am one. I cannot do everything, but I can do something. And I will not let what I cannot do interfere with what I can do. My name is Adam Hayes, and I am a Special Olympics Maryland athlete. This has been a passion project in my head for the past few years, and with the help of the University of Maryland School of Medicine and the School of Social Work, we were able to make this happen. Years of car conversations, commuting back and forth from Frederick to Baltimore and back again, conversations, planning, and hoping. Until we had the right people at the right time and the right place, we were not ready. I want to thank those right people now. We would also like to thank and recognize Dr. Corey Shade and Dr. Samantha Fold from the School of Social Work, who recognize the importance of what we were trying to accomplish and gave us 100% of the support throughout. Also, thank you to Olivia Nuss, Dr. Dana Corbin, and Mary McKelvey for choosing to support, choosing to partner with us in helping us to integrate social work principals to create a bridge between our project. A great demonstration of deeds, not words. When I read that Shirley Chisholm said in 1972 that she, quote, wanted to create a new America, one where there's freedom from violence and war at home and abroad, where there's freedom from poverty and discrimination, where there exists at least a feeling that we are making progress in ensuring for everyone medical care and employment and decent housing. She was speaking to me from the past. It's still in America I want to see. Inclusive health and medical advocacy for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities is so important to a holistic, patient-centered approach in healthcare. It also makes healthcare more accessible to those who feel marginalized and intimidated by the system. Special Olympics healthy athletes and inclusive health, partnering with universities like University of Maryland School of Medicine and the School of Social Work helps create justice, equality, diversity, and inclusion for persons with intellectual disabilities in our current healthcare system. Special Olympics Health is working to increase access to quality healthcare and prevention programming to improve the health status of people with ID by equitable access and full participation in all health programs and services and activities. As we continue down the road, I feel like we are getting closer to Shirley Chisholm's vision of America. The award marks another step in the direction of the inclusion revolution and a partnership we hope to continue in the future. Thank you.
So join me in giving everyone a round of applause, all of our awardees. I would just say it feels really good to be in a room like this, celebrating the things that we're focused on. And it's fun to think about the world we're creating together. So I'm honored to be a part of that today. We are running a little bit late, so thank you for those that are sticking with us. But in order to move this along, I'm going to introduce the co-chairs of the DICE. That's the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. Jennifer Kelman and Nia Speaks. They're going to introduce our next.
Hello. We are going to be quick, but we also want to make sure that we emphasize that these individuals whose names we're calling are very deserving of this recognition. So do not take our brevity as not recognizing how important you are to the school's social work community.
Yes, we want to take a moment to acknowledge our JEDI champions who are part of our School of Social Work and our larger community who are dedicated to moving JEDI principles forward. And so for the sake of time, we're going to ask that when we call your name, you stand up, and at the end, you will receive a token of recognition. So first we have Laura Wrights, Araya Hayes Lawson, Anna Duke, Andre Bissy-Wuma, Adam Schneider, Bethany Lee, Dr. Krista Belchon,
Gail Betts, Dante McKinley. Portia Rouse. Dream Disability Justice. Evie Yost, oh, sorry. Queer Crisis Response Unit. Dr. Joanne Martin. Restorative Response Baltimore. Christopher Beagle. Genesis Diaz. Aisha Rice. And Dawn Schaefer. Oh, sorry, one more, Courtney Jones Carney.
And to bring us home, I'm going to introduce Dean Judy Postmus.
What a wonderful event, wonderful way to support one another, to focus on our strengths, to focus on who we are, to really reach and strive for the JEDI principles that we so aspire to reach. It's my vision if someday, when we get in our new building, that we can say, hey, we're already there and we're on our way there now, where we treat each other with respect and dignity, where we don't look at titles or positions, where we support each other's strengths and lift each other up, where we're not criticizing them for mistakes made, but instead helping them be a part of our great school and our great university in this great community of Baltimore. So I am so proud to honor those who received the awards today. You are on the way, you're helping us get there. To those who helped, all the champions that were identified, again, you're with us on the path towards having an organization that is anti-racist, anti-oppressive, and ones that embraces JEDI principles. I also want to take a round of applause for those who are on the DICE committee. If you could please stand to be recognized. And finally, none of this could be even possible without the incredible direction and talent and work in our own Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, run by our own Nejma Celestine Donner and our own Julia. Thank you. Both of them have been extremely supportive of me and the work that we're doing here at the school. I remember when Nejma and I were interviewing, because Nejma started a month after I did, and it's been such a pleasure to be on this journey, and a pleasure to share a lot of late nights in the office with Julia. So again, thank you for coming today. Thank you for celebrating each other, and let's keep going.
Thank you all so much for spending the last hour and a half or so with us. There's a light lunch in the reception area, so please go ahead and help yourself. Thank you all again today, and thanks for coming up. Have a safe rest of the day. And those that were JEDI champions, if you can come up to the table and get your token now, that would be great.